Alright, so this is day 4, and we are going to be talking about map processing. So this is Mr. Richard Branson, who is the chairman of Virgin Atlantic, Virgin everything, okay? So his saying is, complexity is your enemy. Any fool can make something complicated. It is hard to make something simple. That being said, what we are doing, or what the work we're doing in both, GIS, geomatics, mapping, is relatively complicated and complex. And so we try to do our best to make things as simple as possible within the constraints of the technology. Yeah? Okay, so my other kind of philosophical slide is, the same old thinking produces the same old results. So if you keep, in your day-to-day work, if you keep trying to just do the same things over and over again, you cannot expect to have better outcome. If we're used to just drawing paper maps or doing sketch plans and submitting it, if we keep doing that, we will never get to have better plans and maps. Yeah? Okay, as my other slide is about comfort zone. We all have our own comfort zone. We're used to doing work the same way in the office, or we're used to using Windows on a PC, so we're very comfortable. But if we want to learn something and improve, we need to aim outside the comfort zone, and we need to improve our current skills. Okay, so I challenge everybody I train to expand their comfort zone. And then this is, kind of, if Canadians, have no trouble asking for help, but I think in Mongolia and in other places, people feel very reluctant to ask for help. But what I want to say is, when you're working with us, it is okay to ask for help. Okay, so it's okay to say, I don't quite understand, can you explain a little more? So the problem is, sometimes if you don't speak up or ask questions or say that you don't understand, then people like Gary and myself think we've done a great job, and we haven't done a great job. And so it's good to know that we are not doing such a good job. So in 5-10 years' time, I don't want you to tell your children, I was a good camel, but I never made the effort to be a great camel. So it takes effort, and this is part of the comfort zone thing. So if you don't make effort, you don't try, I say that you can't be a great camel. Yeah. We're going now to our day 2. We went out into the field to actually try and use the drone to map an area. I think this was the area we were given by the local Ministry of Environment. So this is the first site we did in day 1. We had an opportunity to use the local ministry's drone to fly, take some pictures. Yeah. However, we discovered that there were some issues with the firmware, and it cannot use drone deploy, cannot connect. So we had to do some work on the firmware upgrade on their 3 Advanced drone. So I was able to upgrade the firmware, and we were able to, the second day, do some drone work with the drone. On the afternoon of the first day, we decided to try and map the old military base south of the site. Okay, we'll talk a little bit about the results later on. We ran into some issues, okay, with 2 issues on day 1. First issue, we go back. I made a mission plan to do the whole site, but we had some problems, and I will show you. The drone completed the whole site, but I cannot explain the reason, but half the pictures, the photos did not come out properly. Now, we also, okay, we'll come back to that, all right? So on day 1, this was our nice tough wing drone in pristine condition to start. So, now, we did have an accident, and it was quite damaged. due to operator error or whatever. But you see, Mongolia, I'm very happy to tell you that I have a lot of faith in Mongolians and their ability to try and fix something that's broken. So thanks to the local ministry people, we were able to find a mechanic who was able to replace the motor mount for the drone. And we're happy to announce that yesterday with the modified motor mount, Gary was successful in completing the mission at the mine site. But when we go home, we'll have to do major repairs to our drone. Basically, this was yesterday, and this is the mine site. And we were successful in using the Tough Wing to complete this entire area. So this is what we have done till now. Okay, so I'll move on. So some of the lessons learned. So in terms of mission planning, I think we have successfully demonstrated that we can use drone deploy as a tool to plan missions for the DJI Phantom 3. Yeah. So the process in mission planning, I've laid out the steps up top as a suggested kind of methodology or list. Okay, so first is you use your personal computer, browser, select dronedeploy.com, and then log in. You need to create an account. Yeah? So with the account that you use to set up with Drone Deploy, when you load Drone Deploy app on top of in your Android or your iPad or whatever, you log in with the same account and the two devices will synchronize the project. Okay, so since they will synchronize, you can do all the planning on your laptop. Yeah. So you would log in to the dashboard and select Plan Add a Flight. And you can actually select the flight graphically using your finger or your mouse to drag the plan area to the site you want. And then do it that way. Or you can add a latitude and longitude. So the add lat long coordinate is available as a plugin to the Drone Deploy website, browser. So, I mean, part of the reason why is if you are in Chulbasan and you are working in a close area, it's easy to drag the site. But if you're in Ulaanbaatar and you have to work in the Gobi, it's so very hard to drag that all the way there. Yeah. Okay, so then you basically move, when you're at your site, you can use the boundary box, the boundary points of the polygon to drag and create the shape of the area you want to fly. And then basically on that application you will be able to check the flight time, the elevation, the pixel size, etc. will be shown on the dashboard. Okay, now we are having some trouble because some mission seems to work and it takes photos, and then we ran into the case where other missions seems to not take any photos. Okay, so I think I cannot be 100% sure, but in the dashboard, in the advanced settings, there is an option to ensure automatic camera setting is on, number 6. I think in some cases, I've noticed that may have been turned off. And I think if when we look at the dashboard, if we click and turn off the automatic camera settings, then it may disable the photos. Okay? And then if you're really happy with all the information on the dashboard, then you can save the mission. Now, you may want to, in the office, then open your Android and check that your Drone Deploy app is working properly and you actually see the mission. And you should go there, and if you have Wi-Fi in your office, then you should also make sure that you turn offline maps on. So save the base map when you're in your office and you have internet. Because if you go in the field and you have no internet, if you didn't save the image, there will be no image. Okay, so all you will see is the flight plan and gray background and you're not sure. So if that's all checked, then you can just switch it off, and then when you go in the field, you use your app to hook up to the drone and then launch your mission. Sometimes difficulty connecting to the DJI drone. Okay, so depending on which application you use, you need to first of all check that either the P or F mode is on. If you are using drone deploy, the flight mode has to be set to F. If you are using DJI Go, then the flight mode should be set to P. I would say that I would recommend you never use A unless you are prepared to replace your drone. Okay, in P mode, just to repeat, in P mode, basically the drone is actually monitoring the GPS coordinates, and the GPS satellites is helping it stabilize the drone. If you take your fingers off the throttles, it will hover. If you're in A mode and you take your fingers off the throttle, it will crash. So in A mode, you have to continually steer the drone. Okay, so let's say we're trying to hook up to drone deploy. So the first thing we need to check when everything's switched off, your drone is, your battery's in the drone, your gimbal lock is removed, okay, and your propellers are in properly. It's on the ground. So ready to fly, but all power is off. So and the cable from the radio control is not plugged into your Android phone or tablet. So then the first thing you do is you switch on the radio control. Then you turn on the battery on the aircraft. Your tablet or phone could be on, but it's not connected. Then you connect the USB cable between the radio control and your tablet. Oh, one step I forgot is when you turn on the aircraft, the light on your radio control should go from red to green. So when it's green, it means that it is talking to the aircraft. Okay, and so when that's happening, then under 5, when you connect the tablet to the radio control, it should give you the options of selecting DJI Go or drone deploy. And if you're using a drone deploy mission, then you select drone deploy. Okay, so one note here, it's worth noting. If you have previously on your tablet connected with DJI Go, you need to make sure, and you want to now fly drone deploy, you need to make sure that DJI Go is turned off completely. So it cannot be sitting in background. If it's in background, it would not work properly with the DJI. Okay, and then if everything is good, it will tell you in drone deploy that the aircraft is connected. If you do not see that the aircraft is connected and it's not connected to your aircraft, then you have to repeat the whole cycle. So if you see an aircraft, then you can press the aircraft button to initiate the communications between the application and the drone deploy. So when you hit the aircraft, it's like arming the tough wing. Okay, you're arming. So when you're arming the plane to the DJI drone, it will go through some checks. Okay, a checklist. So it'll say, this is good, it's loading waypoints, the camera SD card checks. If you have it in P mode, it will tell you it cannot load waypoints. So it won't allow you to load up your mission, okay? Because it's in the wrong flight mode, okay? So anyway, so assuming that all the critical checks are green, then you'll have a tick mark, okay? And then when you see the tick mark and you hit the tick mark, press the tick mark, it will fly the mission. I think you've seen that a few times, okay? We can talk about or discuss that a little more later, okay? So now, day 4 agenda. So first of all, we want to recap the training results to date. So we worked with quadcopter, the DJI, and the fixed wing, tough wing drones. And we looked at mission planning with drone deploy for DJI Phantom 3 Advanced and Pro. And we looked at mission planner for ToughWing. And then we did field work with the drones on days 2 and 3. Okay, so today, day 4, we are going to look at orthophoto processing or map processing. So we're going to use Agisoft Photoscan Standard. And we're going to look at geo-registration with QGIS. Okay, the other options, we're going to look at OpenDroneMap and then drone deploy web service. Yeah? So that's where we're at.